The air we breathe is a shared inheritance, a precious resource that sustains life itself. When this fundamental right is threatened, it is the duty of the highest court in the land to intervene. In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court of India has taken a firm stance against stubble burning, a practice that has plagued the nation for far too long. This verdict is not merely a legal victory, but a beacon of hope for millions who have silently borne the brunt of this environmental havoc. Stubble burning, the practice of setting fire to crop residue after harvest, has become a pervasive problem in India, particularly in the northern states. Driven by economic pressures and a lack of viable alternatives, farmers resort to this quick and seemingly easy method of clearing their fields for the next sowing season. However, the consequences of this practice are far-reaching and devastating, impacting not only the environment but also the health and well-being of millions. The Supreme Court's ruling recognizes the gravity of the situation, acknowledging the severe health and environmental hazards posed by stubble burning. The court's intervention sends a clear message that the right to clean air is paramount and that unsustainable practices like stubble burning will no longer be tolerated. This landmark decision has set the stage for a cleaner, healthier future, but the journey towards a pollution-free environment requires a collective effort from all stakeholders. The judiciary has spoken, recognizing the urgency of the situation and the need for immediate action. Now, it is the collective responsibility of the government, farmers, scientists, and citizens to work together to find sustainable solutions and clear the air, literally and metaphorically. The time for complacency is over. The time for action is now. The idyllic image of golden fields swaying in the breeze is often overshadowed by a harsh reality: the burning of crop residue, a practice that transforms these fields into infernos. As flames engulf the remnants of a harvested crop, a thick blanket of smoke rises, casting a dark pall over the surrounding landscape. This smoke, laden with a toxic cocktail of pollutants, is not merely an eyesore but a serious threat to the environment and human health. Stubble burning releases a deadly mix of particulate matter, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and carcinogenic compounds into the atmosphere. These pollutants have a devastating impact on air quality, contributing significantly to respiratory problems, cardiovascular diseases, and a range of other health issues. The burning of agricultural residue also releases greenhouse gases, exacerbating climate change and its associated impacts. Furthermore, stubble burning has severe repercussions for soil health. The intense heat from the fires destroys beneficial microorganisms, essential for nutrient cycling and soil fertility. This practice also depletes organic matter in the soil, leading to reduced water retention capacity and increased soil erosion. The consequences are dire, impacting agricultural productivity and threatening the long-term sustainability of farming practices. The environmental and health costs of stubble burning are undeniable and far-reaching. It is a practice that undermines the very foundations of a healthy ecosystem and a healthy society. Addressing this issue requires a multi-pronged approach, one that combines legal action with scientific innovation, economic incentives, and a collective commitment to environmental stewardship. The impacts of stubble burning extend far beyond the immediate vicinity of the fields. Carried by wind currents, the smoke and pollutants travel vast distances, affecting air quality in neighboring states and even crossing international borders. The haze from stubble burning has been known to engulf major cities like New Delhi, reducing visibility, disrupting transportation, and posing a serious threat to public health. The economic consequences of stubble burning are equally alarming. The reduced air quality leads to an increase in respiratory illnesses, putting a strain on healthcare systems and impacting worker productivity. The damage to soil health translates to lower crop yields, affecting farmers' incomes and jeopardizing food security. Moreover, the haze and pollution deter tourism, impacting local economies. Stubble burning also exacerbates existing inequalities. It is often the poorest and most vulnerable populations who bear the brunt of the health impacts, lacking access to adequate health care and living in areas most affected by the pollution. The practice perpetuates a vicious cycle of poverty and environmental degradation, undermining sustainable development goals. Addressing this issue requires a holistic approach that considers not only the environmental and health impacts, but also the socio-economic factors driving the practice. It demands collaborative efforts from governments, policymakers, scientists, farmers, and citizens to develop and implement sustainable solutions that benefit both the environment and the livelihoods of those who depend on it. As the acrid smoke from burning fields drifts across the landscape, it carries with it a silent and invisible threat to human health. The fine particulate matter, a deadly component of this smoke, infiltrates deep into our lungs, triggering a cascade of respiratory problems. From coughs and wheezing to aggravated asthma and chronic bronchitis, the health impacts are immediate and debilitating. Vulnerable populations, including children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing respiratory conditions, are particularly susceptible to the harmful effects of this air pollution. Children, with their developing lungs, are at increased risk of developing lifelong respiratory problems. The elderly, often grappling with weakened immune systems, face heightened vulnerability to respiratory infections and heart problems. The health burden extends beyond respiratory illnesses. Studies have linked air pollution from stubble burning to an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases, stroke, and even certain types of cancer. The toxic fumes also irritate the eyes, causing discomfort and potentially leading to long-term damage. The public health crisis triggered by stubble burning demands urgent attention. It is a stark reminder that environmental degradation and human health are inextricably linked. Protecting our environment is not just about preserving ecosystems, it is about safeguarding the health and well-being of current and future generations.